I'm just so happy that people think that I'm, I don't know, pretty, and I'm just so happy that and I love you guys so much, and without you guys I would do things, and I just love you guys so much. I would do things that are bad, and without you guys I would know. And please, I love you guys so much. You guys make me so happy. I love you guys. Mwah, mwah.
Hey guys, so I wanted to really quickly tell you about today's sponsor, one that I actually reached out to myself because I thought it was such a good fit for the channel. Hunt a Killer is a subscription box perfect for fans of true crime or even internet mysteries. Hunt a Killer boxes aren't just merch. They're actually murder mysteries waiting to be solved that come with clues, puzzles, case files, ciphers, and more. Essentially, it's kind of like a Netflix true crime documentary and escape room rolled up into one and delivered to your doorstep. Now, personally, my favorite thing about Hunt a Killer, aside from being able to do little fun investigations and such, is the theming and attention to detail. They don't just throw you a bunch of crap and call it good. The information in this box, for example, actually came in an in-universe envelope, and inside is an actual file that has printouts made to look as authentic as possible. There are, of course, other clues in there that'll help you out with the investigation, and there's even an online component for those of you who are a little bit more ARG inclined. Again, this is just what's in this box, as everyone is unique and contains different items that pertain to the investigation, but my point here is that this is seriously one of the most charming products I have ever come across. Hunt a Killer is great on your own, or on a date, or even with family, especially since it's something fun to do together instead of sitting in front of a TV scrolling through your phones. If this sounds like your cup of tea, then head over to huntakiller.com/reignbot and use promo code reignbot for 20% off your first box. Again, that's huntakiller.com/reignbot and promo code reignbot for 20% off your first box. Bonskinny, aka Bonnie, is the username of an individual that's been drawing a lot of attention lately, specifically on two platforms, TikTok and Instagram. In fact, I decided to make this video after an overwhelming number of viewer requests. Interestingly enough, at the time of writing this, there isn't all that much information online about this user, so pretty much everything I'm going to be talking about today will come from the aforementioned TikTok and Instagram pages. But anyway, who is Bonskinny and why do people care? As you probably expect, answering that question isn't the most simple task in the world. In short, the user appears to be a young female adult. In every post and video, she can be seen wearing a mask with large eyes and bright red hair. On the surface, one might think that her uncanny character is what people are drawn to, and while that may be partially true, the main thing that people are talking about is actually the content itself and what she does, and more than anything, what it all means. For some, it's nonsense to be shrugged off, and for others, it's a cause for concern. This is obviously a narrative we've heard about time and time again. Something a bit creepy pops up online, and while some are spooked, others will write it off as fake. In the case of Bonnie, though, it's actually been quite a long time since I've seen something confuse and divide people to this degree, and you'll see why in a second. But before that, it's important that I start at square one to hopefully give you some background info on how this all played out for those who have been keeping track. At the moment, Bonnie is mainly known for her TikTok account, which has over 60,000 followers, so let's start there. Overall, the account is mostly comprised of videos of Bonnie dancing or talking to the camera to some capacity. Sprinkled amongst those every so often are much more unnerving, sometimes even disgusting imagery. Side note, I will have to swap out the audio for a lot of these for legal reasons, but whenever a clip of Bonnie dancing comes up, just know that the music is usually your mainstream pop or hip-hop hits. There's nothing unusual about them besides her mask. But anyway, back to her posts. At the time of writing this, the first one is from June 2019 and features only a black background and text, accompanied by Bonnie talking.
Hi guys, so I'm sorry I haven't been posting a lot like on time, but that's because I have a secret. My secret is that I've been walking, I've been places.
She explains to her followers that she's sorry for not posting consistently. Bonnie also tells us that she has a secret, that she's been going places looking for a place to live, and that she finally found a place to live near someone she calls Mr. Guy. Bonnie also tells us that she can do whatever she wants as long as she's respectful. The next several videos are of Bonnie dancing in what appears to be a garage. The usual mess of tools and supplies can be seen surrounding her. After this, however, there's an abrupt detour in the page's content, and instead of the usual Bonnie-focused media, we get a short series of clips made entirely with dolls. To summarize, one of the dolls bears a resemblance to Bonnie's mask, complete with the same "I love sweets" line written on her forehead. There are other dolls present, and they seem to bully the Bonnie doll over her appearance. This will be important later. We then get a few more shifts featuring Bonnie doing duets with other users, and more jarring, fast-paced bits that swap out dolls for other objects. After this, Bonnie returns to the forefront of her content, and for quite some time the theme stays the same. That is until late 2019, where we see the most notable shift in Bonnie's postings, one that could be argued is what caused Bonnie to blow up. So, what did she do exactly? In short, she started posting her own audio instead of just music, and these were the results.
Hi guys, I just wanted to say thank you for getting me a little bit famous. I'm just so happy that people think that I'm, I don't know, pretty, and I'm just so happy that. Also, I want to talk about the other room, the pink one. That is my friend's. Or, not my friend, but the other girl that lives here. But I live in this room because the other girls live in that room. But this is my forever room. This is where I live. And no one really knows that I live here. And it's really funny. Because sometimes I really scare them at night. Because I'm like, ah! And they're like, oh my God! Okay, sorry. Hi. Oh, hi. Hi. Hi, who are you? Well, I'm Bonnie. Oh, I don't like you.
The next clip is in some ways even more confusing, but I'll explain what it is to you after you have a chance to look at it.
Precious for YouTube network, fuck off of this videos in my videos, naked videos. Och snå nätverk med trönas nätverk. Precious for YouTube network, fuck off of this videos in my videos, naked videos. Och snå nätverk med trönas nätverk.
The voice you just heard sounds nothing like Bonnie, and if you're an English speaker, none of that made sense, aside from a few familiar sounding words. If you click on the source, it'll take you to this where we see a transcript. The account this came from is one that I'm unfamiliar with and couldn't really find any info on outside of TikTok. The only thing I could really find are themes about children being taken away and the fact that the username is supposedly that of a missing Russian child. Now, obviously what you see here is very tinfoil hatty and kind of ARG-ish, but let's get back to Bonnie. Why she used this audio on her account is something that I'll get into later. A few posts down, we get a frustrated message from Bonnie expressing how her posts were being taken down by TikTok.
Because of you, TikTok! You keep deleting my stuff!
The next few posts seem to mirror this sentiment, but then we get one that seems to calm down a bit. Make note of this caption. It mentions a Mr. Man who we can assume to be the Mr. Guy from the first post. In fact, he's mentioned yet again in the following post.
Hi. Hey. Hey.
The next several videos are a return to form for Bonnie yet again, but what comes after are a series of clips that seriously made people feel very, very worried, and just be warned, it is a bit hard to listen to. With that said, a lot of the stuff going forward probably isn't for you if you're sensitive to someone sounding like they're in extreme distress.
Let me out! I want to let
The racism is over and I get on top of it and I and I can't do it anymore! What are you doing? These are actually the clips that I've seen people reference outside of TikTok when they talk about why they're so worried about Bonnie. On top of this, many have pointed out Bonnie's voice and her way of speaking, concerned that she might have some kind of mental disability. Users are also disturbed by the state of Bonnie's surroundings, as they seem to be in decay. In the clips we just watched, Bonnie said that she wanted to be let out, and to expand on that, we're going to jump over to Instagram and circle back around. Overall, I'd say that the content on Bonnie's Instagram page is a bit more grotesque than what you see on TikTok, but first let's talk about the standout posts that have most people concerned. Here we see Bonnie sitting in a cage, and the caption reads as follows. Hi, this is Bonnie's foster father. Bonnie is safe and sound and at the house with me currently. She wanted me to take this photo of her to let you guys know that she is well-being. She is in her kennel, as this is my form of punishment. As some of you know, Bonnie ran away from her housing. I missed her for days. Her birthday had passed and I had lost hope. I'm glad she didn't do anything horrible and that she's with me now. Bonnie will have her phone in possibly a week or two. I just want everyone to know she is okay. Do not call the cops. Thank you. The next post is a continuation of the last. For people believing Bonnie is doing this for clout or for fun, here's a video of me talking to her. I don't want to stand by and watch Bonnie get humiliated. I love Bonnie with all my heart. She will be back in a couple of days. Her punishment is almost over. Do not do anything unneeded. Note how between both posts, Bonnie's name is in quotes. Like I mentioned a second ago, the content on Bonnie's Instagram page can also be very disturbing, involving bodily fluids and things along those lines, so if you're squeamish, I'd suggest against heading there yourself. Having said that though, if we take a second, we can start to pick out the details from her Instagram page and further the narrative that everyone's been swarming around so far. You see posts like this one, with one figure labeled Mr. Man and the other presumed to be Bonnie. We see a similar one later, this time with Mr. Man presenting himself in a friendlier fashion, even giving Bonnie sweets. We also get a sprinkling of other posts where Bonnie is unseen, like in this one that shows a sketchbook collage of plastic surgery, specifically rhinoplasty, or this post with an emphasis on eyes, and a caption that says, "Anxiety eyes make me pretty, they don't make me happy." This emphasis on beauty and appearance is also echoed in numerous posts on Bonnie's TikTok, like the aforementioned post where a Bonnie doll is bullied, but here on her Instagram is one post that references looks in a slightly different manner. For those of us who aren't medically savvy, this post won't make sense at first, but if you look at the comments, you'll see people mentioning a genetic disorder called Crouzon syndrome. Since I'm not a doctor, here's the first definition thrown my way via Google. Crouzon syndrome is a genetic disorder characterized by the premature fusion of certain skull bones. This early fusion prevents the skull from growing normally and affects the shape of the head and face. People with Crouzon syndrome are usually of normal intelligence. The post doesn't give us much context, so people started to wonder, especially with all the themes surrounding appearance, if perhaps Bonnie suffers from Crouzon syndrome herself. One user claimed so, and another asked her to elaborate, and the response was admittedly more interesting than I had anticipated. If you go on YouTube and look up Debbie's House 2017, you can find a video where a guy goes into a house that's either Bonnie's old house or the house she is in currently. He finds medical records diagnosing someone with Crouzon syndrome. Everything is explained in the video, which connects to this post because it is correctional surgery for the Crouzon syndrome facial deformity. I think this is why she always wears a mask. I don't know, but I'm worried about her. Again, way more info than I was anticipating, and luckily for everyone, the video is still public and features quite a few interesting things. The camera person goes in, digs around, and uncovers various items including letters, photos, and, like the poster said, even medical records. Taking a step back to the first letter, I did try to make out what it said, but I could only go so far. It seems to be an overall positive note, with the writer repeating how happy they are, but unfortunately that's as much as I could really make out. But anyway, let's talk about those medical records. It says they belong to a Debbie, and that Debbie was diagnosed with the same deformity mentioned by Bonnie. Users also commented on how this appears to be the same house where many of Bonnie's videos took place, based on the broken walls and general format. Who exactly is Debbie, and why did this person find things wedged in cracks? Right now, that doesn't seem to be entirely clear, but we do see some references to Debbie on Bonnie's social media, like in this collage, for example. I'm not entirely sure at this time how people found out about this video, and right now I'm thinking I may have either just missed the post or maybe it was deleted. Either way, this video does raise a lot more questions than answers. Its description mentions that the uploader wasn't the man recording, and that they merely reposted it, which begs the question of where the original stemmed from. Interestingly enough, if you continue on through Bonnie's Instagram, you'll be able to find even more about Mr. Man, from this photo of his supposed office to this photo which apparently shows his face. As weird as this all is, we still get posts from Bonnie stating how Mr. Man allows her to roam around if she wants, specifically at night, where Bonnie opts to watch her friends through their windows. One user commented, "Okay, listen, this isn't a joke anymore. It wasn't in the first place. She's not doing this for clout or fun. Someone please help her. She's clearly not in a good state and not with the right people. Someone please call the cops. She's clearly been hurt or even kidnapped. Once again, can someone please call the cops or just help her? Please find her location and call the police." So at this point, we've pretty accurately covered the scope of Bonnie's social media, and while I couldn't cover every single post, I think at this point you get the idea. Which brings us to the crux of the whole situation. Is this or is this not an act? Like I said, it's been a long time since I've seen so many people unsure. Generally speaking, when something is staged, people can tell, but everything from the way Bonnie speaks down to the disheveled setting just has people unsure. The final post on Bonnie's Instagram account is just this. There isn't a caption or anything, and at the time of writing this, Bonnie hasn't posted in about a week. This just made people freak out even more, but if we jump back over to TikTok, we get some context.
Hi, I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna be leaving. I'll probably be back, definitely, but, just not right now. I'm grateful for all my fans that actually care about me and understand it. I'm thankful for the people that want to buy my art. This is amazing. Like, I could never have this opportunity, and now I just feel like I'm wasting it because of my anxiety.
So here we have a very normal sounding version of Bonnie, one that's out of character and sincere. She expresses what she's been going through at the moment with the recent boom in views, and tells us that she feels like her anxiety is getting in the way of opportunities with this newfound attention. She thanks people for wanting to buy her art and for all of the support, but also mentions taking a break, which is something incredibly important for the mental health of anyone, and I do really hope time off helps her. Again, in these clips, Bonnie is no longer Bonnie. She's speaking to us head-on and even making herself vulnerable. In her final post, she talks about how things will be upon her return. Now, a lot of people were incredibly understanding and supportive of Bonnie to take her break, especially considering the fact that this seemed like the first time she'd really broken character in public. But there were still those who were unconvinced, and even after these posts were made, I still got emails telling me that people were worried. I'm assuming that maybe these are the ones who missed the memo, but at the time of writing this, there are still a ton of users on Bonnie's social media, and even just people on YouTube who really aren't buying it, who still insist that the cops need to be called. Anyway, like I said, from what I understand, this is the first time Bonnie really broke character publicly, but there have been some not-so-subtle hints at this being performance art all throughout the character's lifetime. For example, in some of the early duets and posts to Bonnie's TikTok, we have very in-your-face references to other web series and works of unfiction. There are at least 2 clips I know of where Bonnie dances to music from Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
a creative colour. There's one more thing that you need to know before you let your creativity flow.
And there's even one where she duets with an account called Hard Boiled Toe, another user well known for posting unsettling content, albeit in a much, much different style. I do believe that the aforementioned borrowed Russian audio was also meant to play into the common theme of wink wink nod nodding other similar works by other users. Now on top of all of this, on Bonnie's Instagram you can see archives where she highlights her fans, who she calls mommies, and shows her appreciation for fan art and what they've made for her. In these posts, she's entirely coherent and a complete 180 from how she appears when she's in character. Every so often, you'll even see comments from people where they say that Bonnie herself admitted that this was an ARG, or technically speaking more of a persona or unfiction, since ARG stands for Alternate Reality Game, and there's no game element here, but either way, my point is I'm inclined right now to believe this is a thing that happened because that's basically what she said in her final post. I'm guessing that those were probably deleted or hidden somewhere I can't find. Now, I know that some of you are going to get mad at me for not taking this seriously and not calling the FBI, but I really don't know what to tell you. As for the rest of you, I'm going to ask that you be nice to Bonnie and don't go attacking her just because her content is a little unorthodox. I know that on the surface it may all just come off as vulgar, but my interpretation is that this is an expression of real-life emotions that this girl is coping with, whether it be about beauty standards or mental health. Either way, I'm very much looking forward to Bonnie's return if she hasn't already done so by the time this video goes up, and I'm definitely stoked to see what art or merch she decides to sell. I'm also curious about Debbie and who she really is in all this, and if the story is going to take any major turns. Anyway, definitely check out Bonskinny for yourself, be nice, and I'll see you all again soon. Hey guys, so there's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I mentioned on Twitter that I was going to focus a little less on your unfiction/ARG type things, but this one stuck out to me. Again, I saw people who were generally skeptical actually express concern for her. Pretty much everywhere I could find people talking about this, there wasn't really clarity over whether or not this was real even after Bonnie's announcement. But anyway, you guys already know this, I already explained it, I don't know why I'm repeating it. It's time to thank the Patreon supporters. Okay, usual suspects. T. Gorman, Connor H., Andrew, Danielle, Shadow, J. VJ Squid, Q, Shelby, Avocadros, Julian, Joel Zarai, Guillerme, Eric, Lance Espernix, Rain, Raphael, Jeremy, Nick, Krista, No, Keith, Trixie, Connor, Shards of Glass, Ben, and now here's another one that I'm not going to pronounce right, but I will try. Scorian, S, and Amelia. You're all amazing. A huge thank you to the $5 patrons as well. You can see their names listed here. And thank you in general to everyone who's even listening right now. You're crazy, but I love you, and I'll see you all next time.